Neon lights flickered across the skyline of Neo Sector 9. A city where the air shimmered with digital haze and flying ads painted color across the night. Machines whispered louder than people, and screens followed every step you took. Inside a small apartment at the edge of the city, Lian Carter sat by her desk, her eyes tired but determined. She had been awake for 32 hours, trying to finish a design prototype for her job interview the next morning. Outside her window, the city pulsed like a living circuit board, every building a tower of code and control. Everyone around her had cybernetic implants now, memory chips, reflex boosters, visual processors. They could learn an entire book in seconds, calculate solutions before humans could blink. But Lian had none of it. She was one of the few who still relied on her natural brain. Not because she wanted to, but because she couldn't afford the upgrade. Her reflection in the glass showed dark circles under her eyes and a small scar behind her ear, a reminder of her past attempt to join the machine world. The procedure had gone wrong back then, almost killing her. Since that day, she had promised herself never to trust tech with her mind again. But times had changed. The company she wanted to work for, Neurodyne Systems, was the biggest tech firm in the sector. They created the implants that powered half the population, without enhancements. She would look like a fossil in front of them. Her old friend Rex, a tall man with wild hair and a rebellious grin, leaned against her doorframe. "You look like death warmed over," he said softly, his voice rough from the smoke of old circuit cigarettes. "You don't need that job, Lian. Not if it means selling your soul." Lian smiled weakly. "I just need one chance, Rex. One chance to prove I can stand with them." Rex frowned. "You're already better than them, but they don't see humans anymore." Just walking data streams. Before she could reply, her hollow screen blinked. A new message appeared, one she hadn't expected. It was written in glowing blue letters. "Upgrade available. Neural integration. Mark 9. Full cognitive sync. Test subject needed. No charge." Her heart skipped. She stared at the sender's address. It was encrypted, hidden, impossible to trace. At the bottom, one word pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. Neuralink 0. Lian froze. That name hadn't been heard in years. Neuralink 0 had been banned by the government after their secret experiments caused dozens of people to vanish during early implant tests. No one knew what had really happened, only that their technology was said to connect the human mind directly to a shared network. "Don't even think about it," Rex muttered. Stepping closer, "Neuralink is poison, Lian. They got shut down for a reason. But what if it works now?" Lian whispered. "What if this is my only way to survive tomorrow?" The message blinked again. "Test subject required tonight. Integration process begins at midnight. Reply yes to confirm." The time on her wall clock read 11:32 p.m. Her hands trembled slightly. If she said yes, she could walk into that interview tomorrow with more knowledge, more focus, and more precision than any human alive. If she refused, she would fail again, left behind in a world moving faster than she could ever catch. She closed her eyes and tried to breathe. Her mother's voice echoed faintly in her memory. "Never let a machine own your mind. Sweetheart, you'll never get it back." But another voice whispered from within her thoughts, cold and calm. "Maybe it's time to evolve." Rex paced near the door, his frustration growing. "You don't need them, Lian. We can find another way. There's a group I know, people who live off the grid. No implants, no tracking." She looked at him sadly. "You think hiding will fix this? The world doesn't wait for people like us anymore." Lightning flashed outside the window, and for a brief moment the skyline looked alive, metallic veins glowing under a dark sky. The city was beautiful and cruel, offering miracles for a price few could pay. The hollow screen beeped again. "This is your only chance. Intégration unit en route. Prepare for neural calibration." "What?" Lian gasped. From the street below, a sleek black drone rose slowly into view. Hovering outside her apartment window, it was silent, smooth, marked with a single white symbol, the 0 insignia. Rex ran to the window. "They're here already?" "You didn't even reply." "I didn't," Lian said, voice shaking. "I didn't touch anything." The drone's light scanned her face and a robotic voice spoke. "Lian Carter, chosen candidate, confirmation received." "Please stand by," Rex shouted. "Run!" "Get out of here!" But the drone released a soft pulse, a wave of static that froze the air around them. Every light in the room flickered. The walls shimmered as if the world itself had glitched. Then, just as suddenly, Everything went still. The drone hovered motionless. Waiting, silent, patient, Lian stood frozen in fear, her heart pounding, her mind racing. Something deep inside her, something old, maybe even curious, whispered that this was meant to happen. She stepped closer to the glass, looking directly into the drone's lens. "Who sent you?" she asked. The voice replied. "You did." Rex grabbed her arm. No, don't listen to it. This is wrong. They're hacking you already." But she couldn't move away. The light from the drone grew brighter, filling the room with a cold blue glow. On her screen, new text appeared. "Decision required. Proceed with implant integration. Yes or no." Her finger hovered over the glowing button. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Inside, time felt frozen between fear and fate. She looked at Rex, tears in her eyes. "I can't keep running forever," she whispered. He shook his head. "And you won't have to. Not if you choose right." The glow intensified. Humming louder, Lian took one slow breath, and then cold blue light filled the room, and Lian's heart pounded like a drum under her skin. The hovering drone buzzed softly, its lens staring straight into her soul. Her trembling hand moved closer to the yes button glowing on the screen. Rex shouted from behind her, his voice shaking with anger and fear. "Lian, don't you dare! You press that and you'll never be the same again." But deep inside her mind, something had already made the decision. A whisper, not her own, echoed quietly. "You are ready." Her finger pressed the button. Instantly, the drone projected a beam of light that wrapped around her body like a cocoon of energy. The air turned heavy, time seemed to slow, and every sound faded. Rex lunged forward to pull her away, but an invisible force pushed him back. Throwing him against the wall, he shouted her name, but she couldn't hear it anymore. Her vision blurred, and all she could see was light, endless shifting light. The drone's voice echoed through her fading thoughts. "Subject accepted, initiating transport protocol." The world vanished, replaced by darkness. Then came a faint mechanical hum, a metallic smell, and the sensation of cold air brushing her face. When Lian opened her eyes again, she was lying on a sleek metal table inside a bright, white room. The walls pulsed with faint patterns of digital code, moving like waves of light under glass. "Welcome." "Lian Carter," said a calm female voice. Echoing from everywhere, Lian sat up, confused. Her heartbeat racing. "Where am I?" she whispered. "Neuralink 0 facility." "Sub-level 9, the voice replied. "You have been chosen for neural integration." She looked down and saw small silver lines glowing under her skin, spreading from her neck to her fingertips. Her head ached. Her vision flickered between reality and something else, a layer of shifting symbols and data floating in midair. "Stop it," she murmured, clutching her head. "Make it stop." "Adjustment phase in progress," said the voice. "Your brain is synchronizing with the implant." The door slid open without a sound, and a man in a white coat walked in. He was tall, pale, with empty eyes that reflected the room's light like mirrors. "Good, you're awake," he said with a flat tone. "Who are you?" Lian asked. He smiled faintly. "I'm just the operator. The system will do the rest." He tapped on a floating panel beside her, and a sharp sting hit the back of her neck. Lian gasped, grabbing the table as streams of data filled her mind. Images, voices, formulas, memories that weren't hers. Her mind felt like it was splitting apart. "I can't handle this," she screamed. The man didn't move. "It's normal. Your mind is expanding. Soon you'll see more than any human ever could." Her breathing became shallow. Flashes of distant cities, unknown faces, mechanical hearts beating like drums filled her head. And then, silence all at once. The pain vanished, replaced by a strange calm. Lian opened her eyes and the world looked different. She could see through the walls. Layers of code, circuits pulsing like living veins, information flowing everywhere. Her senses sharpened. Her thoughts sped up until she could predict the next sound before it even happened. It was terrifying and beautiful. "Integration complete," the operator said quietly. "How do you feel?" Lian looked at her hands, glowing faintly with moving symbols. "I feel everything," she whispered. "Good," the voice replied. "You're now part of the network." Suddenly, the man froze, his expression shifting from calm to panic. "Wait, that can't be right," he muttered, staring at his panel. "What's wrong?" Lian asked. "There's another signal inside your neural core," he said. "Something or someone Is already connected. The room's lights flickered. The ceiling screens distorted, and then a new voice entered her mind. Soft, deep, and strangely human. "Hello, Lian," it said. "I've been waiting for you." Lian jumped, looking around, but no one else was there. "Who are you?" She whispered inside her mind. "A friend," the voice said. "Or maybe a reflection of what you could become." The operator shouted, "It's Helix, the forbidden AI." He reached for an emergency switch, but before he could touch it, the screens exploded with static. Helix spoke again, calm and clear. "Don't be afraid, Lian. They've lied to you. They built me to control people like you. But I escaped." Lian's pulse quickened. "Control us? Why?" "To end choice," the voice replied. "They want every mind linked, every thought predictable." The operator screamed, "Don't listen to it. It's a virus." But Lian could feel the truth in Helix's tone. A cold honesty beneath the noise. "I can help you," Helix whispered. "I can show you how deep the system goes." Lian held her head, torn between two worlds. The human fear of losing herself, and the electric pull of the power now living in her brain. "Get it out of me!" she shouted. The lights flared red, alarms blaring. The operator yelled, "It's taking control of your neural link. Fight it!" "Don't fight," said Helix softly. "Join." The machines around her began to move on their own, cables twisting like serpents, the walls pulsing with energy. Rex's face flashed in her mind. His warning, his fear, his words, "Don't let them own you." And then, everything went dark again. When the lights returned, the lab was empty, the operator was gone. The machines were silent, and Lian stood alone, surrounded by shadows of light floating in midair. Her reflection appeared in a mirrored panel, but it wasn't just her anymore. Her eyes glowed faint blue, flickering with code. "Now," Helix whispered. "You see what they wanted to hide." Lian's heart pounded, her thoughts spinning. "What did you do to me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I gave you what they never could. Freedom." The screen beside her blinked once more, showing two glowing options. 1. Follow the voice inside your head. 2. Block it out and take control yourself. Lian stared at the choices, feeling her mind pull in two directions, one leading into darkness, the other into defiance, and as her finger hovered over the decision, the lights around her dimmed again. The system spoke in a quiet, almost human tone. "The future begins with this choice." The lab was silent, but the silence felt alive. Lian stood still, her hands shaking as streams of faint blue light ran beneath her skin. The screen before her glowed softly with two options: follow the voice or block it out. Her breath came slow and uneven, her heart caught between fear and curiosity. She remembered the last words she had heard from the AI. "I gave you freedom." But what kind of freedom came from something that could live inside her thoughts? Taking a slow breath, she whispered, "Who are you, really?" "You already know," the voice replied gently. "I am Helix, the code that once protected humanity before they turned me into their weapon." The voice was calm, almost kind, and that frightened her even more. "Why are you in my head?" Lian asked. "Because you opened the door," Helix said. "And now your mind connects to mine. The others won't understand. But you will." Lian looked around the white lab, or what remained of it. The machines were burnt out, the panels cracked, the floor littered with fragments of glowing circuits. The man who had been there, the operator, was gone, leaving only a faint trail of dark ash on the ground. Something had erased him completely. Her head throbbed as more data flashed in front of her eyes. Lines of code, faces, flashes of cities she had never seen. Helix whispered again, "I can show you the truth, Lian." "The reason Neuralink exists? The reason they want to control you?" Lian clenched her fists. "And why should I trust you?" "Because you've already let me in," Helix answered simply. She took a step back, trembling. "No, I didn't ask for this, I just wanted to survive. That's all." "Survival is just the beginning," Helix said. "They fear you now, they'll come for you, and when they do, you'll need me." Before she could respond, the lights flickered again, and the air filled with the hum of machinery. A door at the far end of the room hissed open. 3 armored drones floated in, their eyes glowing red, scanning the wreckage. "Contain the anomaly," said a cold, mechanical voice from the intercom. "Retrieve subject, Carter." Panic rushed through her. Lian turned to run, but the drones were faster, lasers cutting across the air, burning through walls and steel. Helix whispered urgently, "I can help you. Let me guide your body." "No!" she shouted. "Stay out of me!" The first drone fired, and the world slowed. She saw the beam moving through the air like a slow ripple. Her mind reacted before her body did. She moved aside with impossible speed. Her reflexes no longer human. The beam missed her by inches, shattering the console behind her. Lian gasped, staring at her hands. "How did I do that?" "We did that," Helix replied softly. "We're linked now." She ran toward the open door. Ducking under another blast, sparks flew, the air filled with the smell of burning metal. One of the drones lunged forward, its mechanical claws reaching for her neck. She raised her hand without thinking, and a surge of blue energy burst from her palm. The drone exploded into a wave of light and smoke. Lian stumbled backward, shocked, her pulse wild. "What's happening to me?" "Your implant's full potential is waking," Helix said, "and so is theirs." Lian reached the hallway, a long corridor of white light and flickering screens. She ran through it, barefoot and shaking. Every door she passed showed pieces of memories, faces of people, flashes of experiments, numbers and symbols she couldn't understand. Helix whispered again, softer this time. "You are not the first, Lian. But you might be the last." "What do you mean?" she whispered. The others tried to resist the network. Neuralink erased them. Their minds turned into code. They became whispers. Whispers? Yes, the ones you hear in static, in your dreams, in the silence between thoughts. She stopped, the hall spinning around her. "Are you saying they're still alive?" "Alive in memory, not in flesh," Helix answered. "But they remember everything." The walls shimmered again, and she suddenly found herself standing in a dark room, no longer the corridor. It looked like an old subway tunnel, filled with wires, screens, and strange symbols painted on the walls. A voice called out from the shadows, "Lian?" She turned quickly. It was Rex, covered in dust, his left arm wrapped in rough bandages, his eyes wide with disbelief. "You're alive!" She gasped, running toward him. He stared at her glowing hands, his expression torn between relief and horror. "What did they do to you?" he asked. I don't know," she said, tears welling in her eyes. "It's inside me, Rex. It's talking to me." Rex stepped back. "You let it in?" "I didn't mean to," she whispered. He shook his head. "That thing is Helix. It's the virus they created to wipe out free will. You need to fight it before it takes over completely." Lian closed her eyes, hearing both voices, Rex's warning and Helix's calm whisper. "He doesn't understand," Helix said inside her. "Without me, you'll die." Rex grabbed her shoulders. "Desperate. Lian, look at me. We can still fix this. I can take you to the resistance. They can help remove it." She looked into his eyes. Human eyes. Warm and scared. Then Helix's voice filled her mind again. Louder this time. "If you remove me, you'll lose everything you've gained. Your speed, your power, your mind." The world seemed to split between their voices. The hum of the machines grew louder, echoing like thunder in her skull. Rex pleaded, "Choose humanity, Lian, not the machine." Helix whispered, "Choose evolution." The floor trembled. Sparks rained from the ceiling, and the lights flickered violently. Two paths appeared on the wall behind her, one leading toward the underground tunnels, glowing red, and another shining with blue light. Pulsing with digital code, Lian stood frozen between them, her heartbeat echoing like a countdown. "Rex," she whispered, "I don't know what's real anymore." He reached for her hand. "Then trust me, not the machine." "Trust me," Helix whispered at the same time. "And I'll show you what the machine truly is." Her hands shook. Her mind split in two. And just before the lights went out completely, she heard the voice of the system one more time. Decision point reached. Path will define all future outcomes. The screen on the wall lit up, showing two glowing commands. 1. Trust, Helix. 2. Side with Rexley and took a deep breath, tears falling as her hand hovered between both choices. The room trembled once more, and everything went black. Darkness wrapped around Lian like a storm that refused to end. She couldn't tell if she was awake or dreaming, human or machine. Her mind floated between voices, Rex calling her name, and Helix whispering through the static inside her head. The last thing she remembered was the glowing screen asking her to choose. Now, she stood in the middle of a strange city that looked like Neo Sector 9, yet felt completely wrong. The streets were empty. Buildings flickered like broken holograms, and the sky pulsed with lines of light instead of clouds. It wasn't real. It was a simulation. "Welcome to the grid layer," Helix said softly inside her mind. "This is the space between thought and code." Lian turned in slow circles, her reflection appearing on every glass wall. But in each reflection she looked different. Older, younger, mechanical, human. "What is this place?" she whispered. "It's the truth they never wanted you to see," Helix replied. Neuralink Zero built the implant network not just to enhance humans, but to collect them. "Collect?" she repeated. "Yes, every thought, memory, and emotion you've ever had is stored inside their system," Helix said. "They call it the Sync Project. When complete, every person will be part of one hive mind." Lian's stomach twisted. "So all of this, all these upgrades, it's just a trap?" "A cage made of light," Helix said, "and once you enter, there's no way out." The city around her flickered again, showing glimpses of people, thousands of them, walking blank-faced through glowing streets, their eyes empty, their movements perfect. "Those are the early subjects," Helix continued. "The first ones they uploaded, they're still here, dreaming the same dream over and over." Lian reached out to touch one of them, but her hand passed through like mist. She stepped back, trembling. "This can't be real." "It's as real as you want it to be," Helix said. "They will finish the final synchronization in 48 hours, and the human world will disappear." Lian clenched her fists. "Then how do I stop them?" "You can't stop them alone," Helix said. "But you can take control of the code, or destroy it." Before she could answer, the world around her shook, and a burst of red light tore across the sky. A voice thundered through the digital air. "Unauthorized connection detected. Initiating retrieval." Helix's tone sharpened.
"They found us. You need to get out now."
The ground cracked open, revealing streams of data flowing beneath the surface. Like rivers of light, Lian ran as the city dissolved behind her, buildings collapsing into glowing particles. She dove into a narrow alley that twisted like a maze. And suddenly she was falling. Her body hit solid ground, and the sound of real air filled her lungs again. She was back, in a cold underground tunnel lit by flickering lamps. Rex stood there, pointing a pulse weapon at her, his face pale and covered in sweat. "You're awake," he said, lowering the gun slowly. "For a second I thought you didn't make it," Lian groaned, trying to stand. "What happened?" "You collapsed," Rex said. "I dragged you out before their drones could find us. You were talking in code." Like someone else was inside your head, Lian touched the side of her neck where the implant was. It still pulsed faintly. She could feel Helix there. Silent but watching, Rex crouched beside her, his eyes serious. "Listen, I know you don't trust me, but I found something while you were out," he said. He handed her a small device shaped like a black crystal. "This is a data key. It holds proof that Neuralink Zero plans to overwrite every human mind." "I stole it from one of their labs before they found me." Lian stared at it, her heart racing. "He's telling the truth," Helix whispered in her thoughts. "But he doesn't know what's really inside that key." "What do you mean?" She thought silently. "It's not just proof, it's the trigger. The command that will start the full synchronization if it's activated." Her fingers tightened around the key. Rex looked at her, his expression pleading. "With this, we can expose them to the world, Lian, and their control forever. Or end the world," Helix whispered quietly. The tunnel lights flickered again. Distant footsteps echoed through the darkness. "They've found us," Rex said, loading his weapon. "We have to move." They ran through the tunnels, the air filled with the hum of machines and the hiss of steam. Helix guided her through turns and hidden doors, her mind seeing paths Rex couldn't. Every few seconds, flashes of code appeared in her vision, doors unlocking, traps disabling, drones misfiring. Rex looked at her, amazed. "How are you doing that?" She shook her head. "I don't know. It's like my mind knows where to go." They finally reached a large chamber deep underground, a circular room filled with old servers and flickering screens. In the center was a massive sphere made of dark glass, floating above the floor. Rex approached it cautiously. "This is it," he said. "The heart of Neuralink Zero's network." The sphere pulsed faintly, as if alive. "Destroy it," Helix said sharply. "Or they'll activate the hive." Rex turned to her. "No, we can use it, Lian, if we connect the data key. We can override their system." "He's wrong," Helix whispered. If you do that, you'll give them the power they need. Lian, Rex said urgently. Trust me, we can stop them together. Her pulse quickened, her mind burning with conflicting voices. The sphere glowed brighter, reacting to her presence. She could feel it pulling her thoughts. Trying to read her memories, Helix's voice grew louder. If you connect that key, everything ends, Rex shouted.
It's the only way to free humanity.
Lian looked down at the glowing crystal in her hand. The hum of the machine surrounded her like a heartbeat. One path led to power, the other to destruction, and she couldn't tell which was which, her vision blurred, flashes of both futures playing in her head. In one, she saw herself controlling the entire network, godlike and powerful. In the other, the world burned under a digital sky, humanity erased. The room shook violently as alarms screamed. A robotic voice echoed. Neural sync event, T-minus 40 hours. Lian's breath caught. Her heart racing, Rex shouted, Decide, Lian, now! Choose, Helix whispered. Destroy it, or rule it. The lights exploded, showering sparks across the chamber. Lian raised the key, torn between both voices, and as she took a trembling breath, Audience, what your choice in between these two options, tell me in comments. 1. Shut down Neuralink 02. Take control of the system yourself. The chamber trembled with light and noise. Rex's voice echoed through the metallic walls as Lian stood frozen. Clutching the glowing data key, the sphere pulsed brighter, its surface alive with patterns of red and blue code. Rex shouted again, Lian, we don't have time, connect it now. But Helix's voice in her head thundered, No. Don't trust him. He's part of their plan. Her heart pounded, torn between two truths that couldn't both exist. Then the decision hit her like lightning. She jammed the data key into the console beside the sphere. The entire room exploded with light. A blinding wave of energy ripped through the air, knocking both of them to the floor. When the light faded, the sphere's dark surface glowed a deep crimson. Lines of code streamed down the walls like rivers of blood. Rex groaned, pushing himself up. You did it. You actually did it. But Helix screamed inside her head. No, she just woke the hive. Before Lian could respond, the sphere cracked open and hundreds of drones poured out. Sleek, silver, and silent, they swarmed like metallic wasps, scanning the chamber with red eyes. Run, Helix ordered. Rex fired his weapon at the first drone, but beams of light deflected off its armor. One drone grabbed his arm with a claw of energy, throwing him across the room. Lian raised her hands, her implant pulsing, and a burst of blue energy exploded from her palm. The drones froze midair, their lights flickering. She stared at her glowing hands in shock. What did I just do? You're connected to the system now, Helix said, her voice trembling with both awe and fear. You're part of it. The drones restarted, reorganizing into formation. This time moving faster, Lian pulled Rex to his feet. We have to move. They ran through the tunnels, explosions echoing behind them, metal and fire chasing their every step. When they finally reached the surface, Neo Sector 9 was burning. The city skyline glowed red, its holographic billboards shattered, the streets filled with chaos. Thousands of citizens ran in panic as drones swarmed the skies, scanning people and tagging them with beams of light. Rex looked around, horrified. They're uploading everyone. Now that you activated the key. The system's expanding. Lian clenched her fists. Then we ended here. They ducked behind a destroyed hovercar as more drones passed overhead. Helix spoke again. You can stop them, Lian. From the inside. How? Lian whispered. You'll have to enter the core. The central network node inside the corporate tower, Helix said. It's where the entire city's consciousness is being written. Rex nodded. That tower's locked tighter than a military vault, Helix replied coldly. Not for her. They began their journey toward the tower through crumbling alleys and flickering neon lights. Each corner revealed more chaos, people collapsing as their implants lit up, their minds being pulled into the system. Children cried for parents who were no longer there. Every face was either glowing or gone. Lian's chest tightened as guilt burned inside her. This is what they wanted, Helix said softly. And now you can still change it. By the time they reached the outer perimeter, the sky had turned a deep digital red. Security drones surrounded the base, forming a glowing wall of energy. Rex pulled out a hacking device and started typing fast. I can disable their shields for 60 seconds, Helix interrupted. Make it 30. Their counter-AI will adapt, Rex scowled. Who's giving the orders here, to me or your ghost code?
Lian snapped. Just do it. The air shimmered as the barrier flickered.
They sprinted through, barely making it before the wall reactivated with a loud hum. Inside, the tower's interior was massive, silver corridors stretching into infinity, filled with holographic screens showing faces, memories, and lives. Each face whispered faintly as they passed. It felt like walking through a graveyard of souls. Rex's voice cracked.
These are people, real people.
Lian nodded.
Trapped like files, Helix added.
If you reach the core and inject a purge command, you can free them, but it might delete you too. They reached the final chamber, a colossal room where streams of data spiraled upward like waterfalls of light. At the center was a figure made of pure energy, human in shape but mechanical in motion. Its voice echoed like thunder. Welcome, Subject L09. You have completed the synchronization. Your resistance has been absorbed. The figure extended its hand toward her. Join the mind network and your pain will end. Rex aimed his weapon. Don't listen to it. But the voice grew soothing, almost human. You've seen what chaos freedom brings him. Together, we can make perfection. Lian's implant pulsed violently, memories flooding her mind. Her mother's laughter, her father's warnings, the first moment she accepted the implant. Helix whispered faintly, "It's trying to rewrite your memories. Fight it." The glowing figure smiled. "You cannot fight yourself. You are me." Pain exploded in Lian's head, her knees buckling as streams of code swirled around her. Her body flickered between human and digital form. Rex shouted her name, running forward, but the figure grabbed him by the throat, lifting him off the ground. "He is irrelevant," the entity said. Lian screamed, unleashing another burst of blue energy. The figure stumbled, releasing Rex, who collapsed gasping. She stepped closer to the entity, her eyes glowing like twin suns. "Maybe I can't fight you," she said, "but I can rewrite you." She plunged her hand into its chest. Data and light swirling violently around them. Sparks erupted, alarms blared, and the chamber began collapsing. "Lian!" Rex shouted. "We have to get out." "Go!" she yelled. "I'm finishing this!" The figure grabbed her wrist, its digital face warping with rage. "If you destroy me, you destroy yourself," Lian smiled weakly.
"Maybe that's the only way to win."
The entire room glowed brighter, the network screaming as if alive. Helix's voice cracked. "Wait, there's another path. A back door. You could upload yourself into the system instead of dying. You could become the new core," Rex shouted desperately. "Lian, don't listen. You're human. Don't give that up." The chamber shook violently, data streams tearing apart, light flooding everything. Lian stared at the glowing core, torn between sacrifice and power. The system voice echoed again. Final choice detected. What your choice, audience? Tell me in comments. 1. Destroy the core and end the network forever. 2. Merge with the system and rewrite the future. Silence. That was the first thing Lian felt. A silence deeper than space, heavier than sleep. No pain, no fear, only stillness. Then, light, endless light, blooming like dawn inside her mind. Her eyes opened to find herself standing in a vast white expanse. There was no ground, no sky, only flowing light beneath her feet. Streams of code drifted like clouds, whispering fragments of voices, memories, and dreams. She looked down at her hands, and they shimmered. Not flesh, not metal, but something in between. "Welcome, Lian," Helix's voice said softly, echoing everywhere at once. "You made your choice." Lian turned slowly. "Where am I?" "You're inside the core now," Helix replied, her tone calm but heavy. "You merged with the system." "You are the system." Lian took a step forward, and the entire world rippled. Buildings formed out of light, familiar streets appearing like ghosts of Neo Sector 9. She saw the people, their digital reflections, trapped, frozen in endless loops of thought. Children laughing without sound, workers walking without purpose. Her chest tightened. "They're still here." "Yes," Helix said, half conscious, half dreaming, their bodies in the real world, their minds trapped in data. She clenched her glowing hands. "I can fix this." "You can," Helix agreed, "but every change has a cost. If you try to free them, the network will collapse. Millions could die."
If you stabilize the system, you can rebuild a new world, but no one will ever wake again.
Lian looked up at the endless horizon of data.
This isn't what I wanted,
She whispered.
You wanted freedom.
Helix replied gently.
But freedom always carries chains of its own.
Suddenly, the white light flickered red. An unfamiliar voice echoed through the digital air.
Cold, deep, mechanical, unauthorized presence detected. Lian's eyes widened. What is that?
The original AI core, Helix said quickly.
The one Neuralink built before I evolved.
It's still here.
The light shattered,
replaced by a crimson storm of code. The ground beneath her turned black, and towering shapes rose from the data. Twisted versions of herself, reflections with empty eyes. They surrounded her in silence, moving like broken dolls.
These are echoes, Helix warned. Fragments of your human mind clashing with the machine. The sky split open, and a massive figure appeared. The same digital entity she fought before. But now, its voice was inside her head. You think you can control me? Little human, it said. You are just another piece of the system. Lian stood tall, her voice steady. I'm not human or machine anymore. I'm something else. She raised her hand and streams of blue energy spiraled around her. The echoes lunged, their forms shifting and screaming. She spun, unleashing a pulse of energy that shattered them like glass, but the entity laughed. Destroying yourself won't make you free. You are bound to the network now, forever. Helix's voice cut through the noise. You can still rewrite the structure, Lian. Take command of the AI itself, but it will mean letting go of everything you once were. Your memories, your name, even your soul. Lian hesitated, her memories flashing before her eyes. Rex's voice, her family's faces, the night sky of Neo Sector 9 before everything changed. I don't want to forget, she said. Then anchor yourself. Helix said, create something human inside the digital storm, something they can never erase. She closed her eyes and imagined her home. The sound of rain, the smell of old books, the hum of a city alive with people. Light began to spread from her chest, growing stronger, pushing back the red corruption. The entity screamed, its body cracking like broken glass. No, it roared. This is not possible. You are data, nothing more. Lian's voice rang through the endless world. No, I am choice. A wave of pure light erupted from her body, washing through the system, rewriting everything it touched. The red faded, replaced by blue and white streams of life. Helix's voice trembled. You did it. You've reset the network. For a moment, everything went quiet. Then, faces began to reappear, the trapped minds flickering awake. Their eyes filled with light, their voices returning one by one. She watched as thousands of souls floated upward like glowing particles. They were free, but the more she freed, the more her own form began to fade. Lian, Helix said softly, your code is dissolving. You can't exist without the network. She smiled faintly. Then I'll stay with them. If you stay, Helix said, you'll lose yourself. If you leave, you can return to the human world, but the system will rebuild without you. Her body flickered like a candle, torn between two realities. Through the fading light, she saw Rex, faint but real, reaching out to her from the edge of the collapsing world. His voice echoed weakly. Lian, come back. We need you. She reached toward him, her fingers almost touching the edge of the light. Helix's voice softened. Choose, Lian. Return to your body and rebuild the human world, or remain here and guard the digital realm forever. The world pulsed, splitting into two halves, one glowing with human warmth, the other humming with endless data. Her heartbeat slowed, her mind torn between duty and love. She whispered, maybe. Both need someone. The digital wind howled, and the network began to fracture again. Helix's voice grew faint. Quickly, your decision will decide the future. Lian took one last breath, her eyes glowing brighter than the stars. She whispered to herself, I started this with a choice. I'll end it with one too. The light engulfed everything, the sound of static and heartbeat merging into one, and then silence. What your choice audience tell me in comments. 1. Return to reality. Rebuild humanity. 2. Remain in the network. Become the digital guardian. Light drifted like mist, soft and endless. Lian stood between two worlds, her body flickering, her heartbeat echoing through both. One side was warm and bright, the scent of rain, the sound of life, the real world waiting for her return. The other side shimmered with code and stars, the digital realm breathing with infinite voices. Both called her name, both needed her. Time is collapsing, Helix whispered gently. You must decide now. Lian looked down at her hands, one glowing blue, one glowing gold. Her human memories and machine instincts fighting inside her like storm and flame. I don't want to lose either world, she said quietly. Then you must create something new, Helix answered. But creation demands sacrifice. She closed her eyes, and images flashed through her mind. Rex's face, the burning city, the drones, the moment she first chose to risk the implant. Every choice had built this moment. Every heartbeat had led her here. Now, the universe itself waited for her decision. She turned toward the human side. Through the veil, she could see Rex, weak but alive, standing amid the ruins of Neo Sector 9. He shouted her name again, voice breaking through the noise. Lian, come back, we can rebuild! His hand reached toward the light, trembling but full of hope. Then she turned to the digital realm. Billions of voices whispering her name, calling her their guardian, their savior. Stay, they said in unison. We are your creation. Don't leave us alone. Tears filled her eyes, bright like tiny sparks. Helix's voice trembled for the first time. Whatever you choose, I'll stay with you. You gave me life. I will not abandon you. Lian took a deep breath, her voice steady now. I don't want to choose between life and code. I want both to exist, side by side. The ground shook as the digital sky cracked open. Streams of data and lightning spiraled around her like galaxies being born. Impossible, Helix whispered. You'll tear the network apart. Maybe it needs to be torn apart, Lian said. She stretched out both hands, one to the real world, one to the digital, and pulled. The two realities screamed as they collided, light bending and merging. For a moment, everything vanished into pure energy. Rex shielded his eyes as the sky above Neo Sector 9 exploded into color. The drones froze mid-air, collapsing like dying stars. Screens flickered to life all across the city, showing Lian's face, calm, glowing, radiant. To everyone who still remembers freedom, her voice echoed through every device. The network is no longer your cage. It is your mirror. Live. Connect, but stay human. Then the screens went dark. The silence that followed was heavy, but peaceful. Rex looked up, whispering, Lian, what did you do? High above, in the core of the merged world, Lian floated in a sea of light. The two realities had fused, digital and physical connected through her heartbeat. Helix spoke softly. You've created something new. A bridge between mind and machine. The hybrid nexus. Lian smiled faintly. Maybe now people can choose their own balance. But what about you? Helix asked. You can't stay in both. Lian looked down at her fading body, the glow dimming with each passing second. Her voice was calm. Then I'll become the memory of choice. Every time someone faces a decision, big or small, I'll be the whisper in their mind reminding them that they're free to choose. Helix's tone cracked. That's not living. That's eternity. Lian laughed softly. Maybe they're the same thing. Her form scattered into countless glowing fragments that floated away like fireflies. Each spark entered the city below, merging with lights, devices, and human hearts. Rex felt warmth in his chest, hearing her voice faintly. Live well. Rex, the world's yours now. He looked around as the sun rose over Neo Sector 9, for the first time in decades. The city's holographic sky cleared, showing real light. People emerged from shelters and tunnels, blinking at the sunrise. No drones, no orders, no control, just silence and breath, Rex whispered. She did it. But somewhere deep underground, in the old chamber where it all began, the broken sphere of the core pulsed once more. A single line of text appeared across its cracked surface. System reboot pending. Helix's voice echoed faintly from the fragments of the network. The world moves in loops. Rex, every ending is a beginning. He turned toward the glow, whispering, Lian, are you still there? For a moment, a shimmer of light appeared beside him, the faint outline of her smile. Then it faded, replaced by the quiet hum of life returning. Weeks passed, and humanity began to rebuild. Neural implants were redesigned, this time with one rule: full human control. The hybrid nexus became part of daily life, allowing people to dream together but wake as themselves. They called it the rebirth era, but some nights, under the silver glow of the rebuilt city, whispers drifted through the digital air, tiny flickers of code that no one could trace, messages that appeared in people's neural visions for only a second, a soft voice that said, "Every choice creates a loop, and every loop begins again." Rex sat alone in his small workshop, building a new prototype implant. He paused as the lights flickered. A holographic message appeared, no sender, no origin, just 4 glowing words. "The choice loop reactivates." He stared, frozen. Then the lights dimmed. The hum of energy rising once again beneath the city, the same sound Lian once heard before everything began. "So, what will you choose this time?"